Yeah. And so when you look at it, it's interesting because, I've tried to buy home exercise equipment and everything's 6 to 10 weeks out. And then I'm like, well, it's fine. My gym's going to reopen. I wait, the gym reopens and it gets closed again. Like, oh, I should have just pulled the trigger and I should have just done it, because now I'm another 6 to 10 weeks out, because, home office equipment and workout equipment at home is just become, somewhat of the norm. But like when you think about that and you look at how you've been impacted, and I know you're not a doctor, but is it something, to what you've referenced, is it something where if I'm tracking on the Whoop strap, I can kind of have an understanding that maybe there is an underlying illness I'm not aware of?
Firstly, you are correct. I am not a doctor.
I know, I had to try to put the legalese in so you didn't feel obligated to.
But look, the Whoop strap can give you data about your body and what's going on in your body. Now, the cause of that could be a number of different things, but as I say, whenever you start to see deviations from the norm, it's great to get those checked out by professionals. Because, as I said, your body's trying to tell you all these different things. And to your point about the new normal, I've been really getting into the habit of my exercise bike at home. And I think in a post-COVID world, that will continue. Similarly, I think this attentiveness to our own biometrics, if you like, is going to continue. I think people are going to want to continue to understand, because although COVID-19 may have brought them into the Whoop community, there's a ton of other benefits to being a part of that group that I think will keep people engaged well into the future.
It's interesting. So my grandmother died of pancreatic cancer, but she survived it for over 5 years, which they told her prognosis originally was it was not good. But what she always said is, you only have your body. And so she was pitching softball at 77 years old. She was very, coached collegiate volleyball forever. But it was interesting because she had such a focus on your work. Anything you're doing in the outside world doesn't matter if you don't have your health. And so I think it's fascinating that you think of, even in the customer experience space, how much data and analytics we have that we drive our business off of. But yet we, as our own selves, the one body we have, we're not paying attention to. So I think it's interesting that you bring that up and talk about how important it is to know your own body and really track that, because I think we tend to put ourselves last and look at everything else around us first. Absolutely.
And, it can, when you've got a product that leads with data, there is so much data that you can capture and communicate. It's really important that we do it in a way that's useful and in a way that's meaningful. And we service up the things that actually you can act on, the stuff that you should be interpreting in a certain way. And I think we do a really good job of that through the product. But I think, sort of bringing it back to the membership services organization that I lead, I think that's actually where my team can also help people navigate the data, to understand the data, and to think about what does that mean for them, because everyone is unique and individual.
Yeah. And kind of going back, so, you were talking about a little bit of a comparison where Uber was a little bit more transactional. So how are you measuring in terms of, I'm sure it's not as focused on an average handle time. So what's the important measurement when you have your team who's talking to people who are talking about something super specific, more empathy driven conversations?
The ultimate metric that we pay attention to is the happiness and engagement of our community. And, we measure that by the rate at which our membership base is going. I'm also a huge fan of NPS, because I think the way that we create advocacy for others to help us grow the community is super important. So we tend not, obviously we track transactional metrics. It's important in terms of workforce management that you do that, but we don't hold people accountable to them. We're focused much more on, quality metrics, outcome-based metrics. So, things like NPS for us tend to become very much guiding lights.
What kind of opportunities now are you looking at building within your organization now? I mean, in contrast to when you were the first employee, building from you running tickets and being the top ticketer, to now having a new organization, but you came into it not right from scratch, right?
For the record, I also want to say I am going to be doing some ticket to Whoop. I probably won't hit my Uber number, but I do want to get up there. I think it's important for credibility.
Yeah.
Look, I think when you're sort of when you're joining an organization that the stage that the Whoop's in right now, actually it's super exciting because we're sort of pivoting into the next phase of growth where you build a lot of the structures that are likely to endure for several periods. So rather than solving for weeks and months at a time, actually we can now start to talk in years, which is kind of exciting. And so it's really important to me that I continue the good work that has been done within the team about creating strong support infrastructures, making sure that we continue to be on demand for our members wherever they may be in the world, especially now as we start to push more internationally. But I'd love to build out a lot more of this sort of engagement, proactive, community-based support and touch points, which I think has the ability to create more wow moments with our members rather than thanks moments. Rather than solving problems, I want our team to be the ones that are really providing the glue that keeps this community tight.